Okay, hello everyone, my name is Birdman for obvious reasons, and today I want to speak about Watch Dogs 2. So Watch Dogs 2 came out earlier this week, and I had a chance to play it on the PS4. So I streamed it for a few hours, got a chance to get past the tutorial, get into the overworld, and get into the real meat of the game. So this game is a sequel to the 2013 Watch Dogs, in which Aiden Pierce goes against CTOS, which is this mass hacking surveillance all across the city of Chicago. So every camera electronic is hooked up to the same network, and a hacker would have the access to basically kind of just do whatever they want within the network as long as they got in. And as a result of the events of the last game, it gets implemented all across the United States. And what basically the plot of this game is, before I go into the what the mechanics are, the plot of the game is you play as Marcus and you want to join DedSec. So the game starts out with you kind of breaking into CTOS to delete your profile so that when the cameras look at you, they don't see anything. They have no idea who you are. So it's a way to kind of just go dark and go off the network. And as a result of the mission, you get to join DedSec. And this is where you get the big plot dump of everything that's happened. So, like I said, 3 years ago, Aiden Pierce, CTOS is now all over America. And you get to kind of see the evil corporation, like CTOS Bloom Industries is basically the evil corporation that's doing this, and what this kind of means for people's freedom. So it's kind of the fears people are having nowadays of, companies will see my, online history and they'll deny me certain payments, they'll deny me credit cards. And the game kind of, basically those are the real fears that are affecting people. And so DedSec is kind of this, lone rebel group that basically kind of wants to overthrow CTOS, overthrow Bloom Industries. Bloom Industries created CTOS. CTOS is the operating system that is connected. Everything's now connected. Phones, cars, buses, lights, anything that's on a network. Now, if you hack into it, you basically get access to. And that's kind of what they're mentioning even within the plot, that any hacker could just go in and steal your information. So DedSec is kind of like the awareness groups, look at what CTOS is, it's not safe, they're taking your freedoms. And that's basically kind of the premise of the game. CTOS is bad, we need to stop them. And what's interesting about the game is, when you start off, it's basically the typical rebellion story of a small group of, colorful characters whose job is to basically, overthrow the big evil empire by doing their small little guerrilla tactics. And it's a really interesting twist on it, because since it's, 2016 or, around this, the time period now, the way they want to do it is basically kind of a modernization. So instead of, getting people to, grab guns and weapons and munitions and go to the streets and shoot and stuff like that, like a typical, war rebellion is, it's more of a social media rebellion in which you go and do all these missions. And what they are is they're various, we're going to expose the truth missions. So for instance, one of the missions is there's a kind of a religious, televangelist religious organization called New Dawn. And what they do is they're basically, how we see a lot of that in real life, they're kind of like preaching to people and taking their money. So DedSec is like, you know what, fuck these guys, we're going to kind of expose the truth. And as a result, everyone's like, oh man, DedSec, look at them, they're so cool. And the whole point of all of these, and they seem seemingly random, and for all intents and purposes they are, and that's kind of plays benefit to it, because it's not so much like we need to do these specific things in the specific order to make something bigger. It's more of every time you do one of these things, you gain more popularity, you gain more fame, you gain more infamy. And what happens is there's a DedSec app. Once someone downloads the app, their phone becomes essentially part of a cloud computing service. So how they basically explain it is, we download this app, everyone knows what it's about, exactly why you're downloading it. We don't steal any of your information. We'll basically turn your phone to a mini computer. You have enough phones connected, you basically create this large cloud network that allows them to do more intensive hacks, that allows them to have better surveillance, that allows them to have more power. So it's an interesting thing of they're gaining followers on social media to gain more power through the use of technology. So instead of needing big strong people with guns and tanks and stuff, all you need is somebody to download the app and just accept the rebellion is happening. And to me, that's probably the most interesting part of the game, is the fact that they've taken the rebellion, which we've seen 100 times, but they update it and make it interesting and make it, to me, make more sense in a modern sense. Like the world isn't falling apart, society isn't crumbling, technically. Like society is still fine, but like the way DedSec sees it is that society is slowly rotting from within. It's just nobody notices. So no one notices that this is evil. They think it's good. And for all intents and purposes, it is. Crime is super low. You know, you can't really get away with as much fraud. But then that's like it's showing that underneath the surface, the bigger corporations are. And that's basically the main point of the story. But I guess what the meat of Watch Dogs 2 is the gameplay. So once you get past the story, which is really interesting and a lot of fun, you get into the meat of the gameplay, which is, you know, the third person shooting with the parkour and the hacking. So I'm happy to say this, it fixes every problem I had. I did a review earlier, I'll put a link in the description, where I kind of outlined every single problem I had with the game. Problem number one, I hated the fact that you could hold every single gun in the game. And they immediately fixed that with you only holding two weapons. Sure, you can hold, you know, a fucking assault rifle and a fucking shotgun and be, you know, Rambo running down the streets. But I'm okay with that you're limiting it to two. You're solving my issue that both GTA and Watch Dogs and Red Dead Redemption have. I don't think you need to hold 7 different types of assault rifles that all take the same ammo. It is pointless. But this game lets you, you know, and for all intents and purposes, you just go fucking stealth. You know, there's a stun gun, very similar to Splinter Cell Blacklist if anyone's played it. You hit them, it's a one shot, it stuns them, they're still alive. Or you can just go in guns blazing, unless you choose that. Then you move on to the parkour, and the parkour, the first one was, you know, it was simplistic. It let you kind of, you know, cool jump on, you know, not run along walls, but like kind of run on the side and jump on a high ledge, or, you know, jump over a low bench or whatever. But this, it's like, it's way more detailed. So it's almost like an Assassin's Creed game. So you're jumping over these, you know, these benches, and then you're also jumping from like one bench to the next, and then you kind of jump on the wall, and it makes it a lot better because now the world is more built for that. So you're running along and you're getting above cover, so you're getting above the enemies and shooting down. And you know, there's some funny glitches which I'm showing right now, and it's really fun in doing that. So it makes the parkour really feel natural. And since you're young, it almost gets away with it. Though, in my opinion, why is a hacker even leaving a computer? But whatever, it's a video game. I'm not gonna criticize it too much. And I guess which leads into the actual hacking. So the first game's hacking was very limited. It was like, here, shut off a light source, or you know, blow up this thing, or you know, cause an alarm to go on to distract. And it was it was innovative at the time, but it was very limited in what you could do because it was basically just starting out. But with this, since it's the sequel, they do a ton of things. So you press L1, which activates essentially your hacking abilities. So you look at a door and you can open it from far away. So if you're running from the enemies, you know, you open the door and run in and you're fine. You can control cars and we can go left, right, forward, backwards. You can control lifts to basically give you essentially an elevator ride up. You are able to, you know, again, you know, with the lights and change them. You're able to set off explosives, or you can set off proximity, or just a distraction. So really, basically, it's like they looked at every single thing you could have done in the last game and just up the ante and up the variety. So it lets you kind of, it's not as quick though, but that's because as a result of having more options, it's not as fast. So in Watch Dogs 1, you could easily shut off a light source by pressing a button, X or whatever you're playing on. But this game, you have to hold L1 and then press X. And to me, especially when you're driving away from the cops, it is not as fun when you're driving hacking than you were in the first game, because there's out there having so many options, you don't get to do it as quickly. So you have to really be timing your stuff right. It's still a lot of fun, but to me, I miss the simplicity of it, because I think the simplicity really added to it. Because once you make it more complicated, it's not as fast, so it just becomes a Splinter Cell game of, you know, hack a thing. Like, it doesn't become as fun or as crazy powerful as the first game, but it still maintains the variety of missions. So when you're playing a mission, like when you play something in Grand Theft Auto or even the first Watch Dogs, or third-person shooters, you just kind of show up to a place, kill a bunch of people, grab an object, and then just, you know, give them and you get a story. With this, since there's so many nuances in the mechanics and how you can climb and how you can approach a mission, it really makes it so that there's a lot of variety to every mission. So yeah, the missions, obviously, you can break down almost any mission in any game to go to area, do stuff, pick stuff up, and go back. But with this, there's so much nuances in how you complete the mission that it really adds a lot of depth to the gameplay. So one of the things they added in the last game was a very simplistic hacking game where you just kind of move the pipes around and make the data stream. With this, you do it in the actual world, so you have to actually run around, which to me makes it a lot more fun. Because the last game was like, oh great, another one of these. Let me just, you know, do this a bunch of times and whatever. But with this, you're running around the environment, using the cameras to get a better angle. It makes it feel better, though it is kind of dumb if you think about it, but to me it is a lot of fun of an old mechanic done new again. all in all, there's not really anything I can say that's bad about the game because even the cast is more interesting this time around. So you have Wrench, the guy with the face and the eyes, and I don't know how the hell any of that works. I'm thinking it's voice recognition that how he's able to do that. Then you have Citra. She's kind of the Photoshop video editor wizard, so she's the one doing all the videos, all the DedSec, promotional stuff that you're seeing every essentially every time you finish a mission, you get this cool kind of like plot dump of what the whole point of the mission was, which to me makes it so that no mission feels unnecessary. You're like, oh, I get what's going on. You have Horatio, who's kind of the guy who kind of helps navigate and tells you where missions are and kind of helps do all this stuff. And then you have Josh, who's kind of the real quiet kid, but he's like the super smart, like he's the brains of the operation. So he's the one that's doing all the hacks and all the cool stuff. Then you have, of course, yourself, the main character, who's kind of, the one mostly doing this stuff. And to me, it's like I really enjoy this colorful cast. My only negative thing I really say about the game is I think the cast tries too hard to be cool. And I've been telling this to a bunch of people, and they keep telling me that's just hipsters. But to me, it's like, and I'm showing the clip right here.
Disappointing as shit, so act better. Alright, keep your chin up. Peace!
See, that's what I mean by trying too hard. Plays, like, really good.
Salt. It's not all bad. Like, after a while, I start to, get used to the main cast. And my favorite character, Josh, who doesn't act like that at all because he's quiet. And to me, it's like, you know what? Not everyone should be Josh, but I'm glad that Josh exists because it helps kind of, like, take away from the fact that everyone is trying way too hard to be cool. But all in all, there's not really anything negative I can say about the game. But this brings me to the end of my review. So I highly recommend it. I think this game is a 7 out of 10. There isn't anything that's really blown me out of the water yet, but it is a fun game. You'll get a lot of experience out of it. There's a lot of cool stuff to do in the overworld. There's a lot of side quests. There's a lot of missions. Yeah, and the main missions themselves are a lot of fun. I've played the online just because I wanted to play the story. But as far as whether or not you should pick the game up, I think you should. If you're interested in Watch Dogs 2 in any way, just pick it up. If you played Watch Dogs 1 and loved it, pick it up because it really adds and it really just basically makes the game a lot bigger and better. If you didn't like Watch Dogs 2, I still recommend it, especially if you felt that it was like, this didn't live up to what I thought it could be. You play this and I feel that this really lives up to what a lot of people thought the first game should be. Beautiful visuals, incredible, just everything it tries to do. The only way I'd say not to pick the game up is if you did not like the mechanics, you didn't like the shooting or the parkour or the hacking, because that's basically what this game is. So if you hated all that stuff, I don't recommend this game for you. But for everyone else, go ahead, pick it up. It is definitely worth your buy. That's everything I have for Watch Dogs 2. Birdman out.